Hey, so right now, if you're a dentist and you want to be part of the change that is happening in dentistry right now, like it is ripe for opportunity. And in the next decade, I believe it's going to be the greatest decade of dentistry. But the question isn't, is dentistry going to be great? The question is, are you going to be part of pioneering that change? So right now, if you're a dentist and you're thinking, well, I kind of like fitting in, or I just want to do what every other dentist is doing, or I just want to have just that one successful practice, but really kind of just, I don't know, you don't think differently and you just want to play it safe. This video is absolutely not for you. But if there's something inside of you and you're like, you know what, I do think differently. I look at dentistry differently, and I feel like I have that potential to be more entrepreneurial, or to level up in my thinking, or to make a bigger difference. And maybe in the next 10 years, you're excited about the potential to be able to lead and be part of that change, then this video is for you. My name is Sean Zeiss. I am founder of Zana. And right now we're competing with the likes of Oral-B and Sonicare. And a lot of people in the industry think I'm crazy for what I'm doing. So I'm going to go over some of the 5 things, the 5 pieces of advice I wish someone would have given me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, so I could have started to think like an entrepreneur. Okay, so number 1, and this is so important for you to get, and that is value wins. Now, the more value you can create in anything you're thinking of, whether that's value to the patient, whether that's value in the industry because of some partnership with vendors or something unique, value wins. But there's a few caveats to value. It's not just different, because like differentiation is important, but it's about the consistency of that value. So for example, if you're podcasting and you feel like, you know what, I have a message to share. The way I view dentistry, the way I think about it, is unique and it's different. And you come out with one blockbuster episode and then the world doesn't hear about you anymore. That one episode could have been described as valuable, but true value is in consistency. You need to stay consistent. So that's my challenge to you, is be thinking about not just the value you can bring into the marketplace, but number 2, how can you consistently do that? Okay, so mindset number 2, failure. How you view failure is everything. I remember when I started my first company, Roots Cause, I was so terrified to, just to fail, to start something, to launch something that didn't work. And you don't know how many times I shot down ideas in the boardroom with my team, instead of actually letting the marketplace tell me that it wasn't a good idea. You see, speed to market, speed of launching, if you are going up against somebody else and they're your competition and they launch 3 things every single month into the marketplace and you only launch 1, they have that much more opportunity to learn, to adapt, to pivot, to get data, and to make changes. Being that you're not a corporation, being that you're an individual entity that's maybe thinking more innovative, thinking more entrepreneurial, more outside of the box, you are agile. And that agility is your strength. But you must view failure differently. You can't take it personal. You can't be afraid of shipping, of launching, of getting your art into the world. Whatever it is, it might be some brand new thing that you're terrified of. And I would say it's only a failure if you don't try. Okay, so that's the take on failure. The next thing I want you to learn that will elevate the way you think and will help you to think more like an entrepreneur is when it comes down to actual learning. There's lots of different types of learning, but most learning, like through books, through podcasts, even CE, is theoretical. And you could think of it in science as like a hypothesis. But that hypothesis is simply a hypothesis until it gets tested. So how do we test business ideas? We launch them into the marketplace. So the main thing here is don't fall for that trap of, oh, look at everything I know. You don't truly know anything until the market actually tells you something. So that shift in thinking is, it's not what I've learned in theory. It's not what I've learned in the boardroom, in the CE room, online. It's what you actually learn experientially once you put something into the market and see how the market responds. The market's dynamic, it's changing, it's living. It's an organism that's constantly fluctuating. And the ways in which you dance and interface with that market and how often you do is going to determine how fast you can actually learn so that you can tee up something that the market cares about. And that's when there's alignment, and that's when your idea is going to spread and your idea is going to grow. And again, this was a huge one for me because I loved learning. I loved reading books. I still love reading books. I love consuming information, almost in the sense of preparation. Man, I need to be prepared because what do they say? Like when preparation meets opportunity, that's when people say you're lucky, right? So preparation is awesome. But all of that learning and all that preparation, if it's not in the context of actually experiencing what the market has to say about what you learned, it's not true learning, okay? The next big takeaway, and this one is probably my favorite, and that is generosity wins. Now, what generosity means is people are people. And if you want to get ahead, and if you want to be part of the change to make dentistry great, not only in the next decade, but in the decades to come, you have to have a long-term vision. And that means if you play for the long term, that means people always come first. You're never going to take a shortcut. You're never going to do something that's going to give you a win at the expense of a partner, at the expense of a vendor, at the expense of your patient. You're never, ever, ever going to do that. Because the number one thing you're brokering today, next year, and in 10 years is trust. And without that, you're nothing. Your brand is nothing. Your practice is nothing. It's only so long that you can fake it. It's only so long that you can actually trick other people. So if that's your MO, this series is not for you because you're not going to go anywhere. So my encouragement to you is to know that just embrace service, embrace generosity, embrace coming up with wins for other people, and that will always come back to be a win for you. It is the way to do business, and it's the way to think like an entrepreneur. And the very last takeaway to really elevate your mindset is that you'll know whether you're doing something you should be doing because of how you feel. If you've ever felt, crap, I don't know if I belong here, is what I'm doing, is it going to work? If you're craving reassurance, if you're wondering like you're an imposter or a fake, or if you wonder what you have, that you have what it takes, chances are that's because you're doing something that is actually meaningful and significant. If you don't feel any of those things and you're just like, oh, this is going to work, everything's fine, whatever, either what you're trying to do is not that difficult, and therefore it's probably not going to be this crazy catalyst for change, or you don't have a realistic perspective on your own abilities. In business, there are no guarantees. There's no guarantee that what you're going to do is going to work today. Even if something you did work today, there's no guarantee it's going to work tomorrow. This dance that you must embrace with the unknown and with the fact that there are no reassurances. Like no one can tell you that what you're doing is going to work, which means you as the visionary, as the entrepreneur, as that leader that I know you can be, you have to see it. And you have to believe it, even when other people around you might be like, oh man, that's really risky. Well, yes, the marketplace rewards those that take risks. At the same exact time, it's a risk because it may not work. But once again, these are the 5 mindset shifts that I think will help you think more like an entrepreneur. And that is that value always wins. And it's not just about differentiation. It's about consistency in the way you deliver that. It's also about, number 2, how you view failure. Failure, it's not getting 0 likes. It's not producing something that nobody buys. True failure is when you don't actually launch. True failure is when you don't try. True failure is that idea you had 5 years ago and you've done nothing with it. That will always fail. The business that you never start is the business that will always fail, hands down. You're like, oh, but Sean, I didn't lose anything. Right, but you didn't gain anything. You played it safe. And if you're still watching this video, you're not someone that plays it safe. You might get scared at times. You might hang out on the sideline. You may be one of those people that at times, you walk out on the harbor and you think about getting in the boat, or you get in the boat and you dream about the open seas, but you're just scared to lift the anchor. And if that's you, that has been me so many times. So I just want to encourage you, step out, trust yourself, believe, surround yourself with people that are telling you that you can do it, not giving you reassurance, but letting you know that you can trust yourself enough to take those steps. Number 3 is learning. Remember, the trap is that we think if we heard something or we read it in a book or we studied something, that means we've actually learned, like true learning takes place. True learning doesn't take place until you actually do something based off what you learned and then experience what happens from the marketplace. If you learned, how to write a book, okay, write a book. And in writing the book and actually trying to get a publisher, trying to self-publish, that is where you're going to learn. Not, I learned 7 steps on how to read a book. And that applies to this video as well. You might have learned 5 things or heard 5 things, but until you actually take steps to apply them, true learning will not take place. So number 4, generosity wins. Always. If you set up yourself to create wins for others, to create wins for your patients, to create wins for whatever partnership you're thinking about doing, that is going to be your best chance for success. And what that does is it sets you up for a long-term vision instead of the short gain. There's a lot of things people do short-term where they don't mind stepping on other people and doing things wrong. And I know that's not you, but I'm just encouraging you. Have that long-term vision. And number 5 is, again, if you feel that, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, the ground is shaky, I feel disqualified, like I'm a fake, like I'm an imposter, that is awesome. That actually means what you're doing is worth doing. Don't try to get rid of that feeling. Get comfortable. I keep saying dancing because dancing is very uncomfortable for me. Get comfortable dancing in the tension with what you're unsure of, with the unknown. Because I guarantee you, other people might have had the exact same thought that you have. Maybe you want to set up a new foundation. Maybe you want to pioneer innovation in this brand new business model. Whatever it is, it's probably not something that no one's ever thought of. But I guarantee you, other people were like, too risky. Or they talked themselves out of it. Why me? So me, I want to talk you into it. I want to talk you into being the change that you dream about. Ideas are cheap. They really are. There are so many different ideas. And some people are just fine with being an idea person. I want to challenge you to be more than an idea person. You are a man or woman of action. Decisive action, bold action, inspiring action. Because you want to live a life of significance and a life of meaning. And if you are like me and you love dentistry, then I want to be part of the change. And I want you to be part of that change of pioneering and leading and being the person that you need to be in order for dentistry to go where it's going to go. So, my friend, I do tip my cap off to you. If you are a dentist, I think your job is crazy difficult. The second I realized, this was like 7 years ago with a good friend of mine, oh my gosh, you are a clinical, like you're a clinician, you are a surgeon, and then you're also a small business owner. That is insane that you have to juggle those things. And most of the time, the mindset that's going to make you a great clinician is not the mindset that's going to make you a great entrepreneur, a great business person, a great leader, and a great innovator. And the tension is knowing when to put on one hat, when to put on one set of glasses, and when to take it off. Anyway, I applaud you for what you're doing in dentistry, and I just want to be part of this journey with you to encourage you and to empower you to think like an entrepreneur and be that entrepreneurial and innovative dentist that you were made to be. bam, bam. One last thing about failure. So one last thing about failure. You probably know this to be true, but I just have to remind you because you need to hang on to what is true and keep it in front of you. Like as diligently as you can, you need to keep in front of you. You are going to have so much more regret for what you did not do than, really? Okay, you just need to keep this in front of you. You are going to have so much more regret for the things that you did not do than for the things that you did. That somehow, what are we afraid of? The world's gonna laugh at us. Everyone's gonna know. The reality is, people don't care. They're so focused on their own dreams, their own goals. Stop itching. The reality is, nobody cares. And those that do care, like the people that are on social media, that are going to write those comments about someone else's idea or about someone else trying. Once you get in the arena and you realize how difficult it is to believe in something and to try and to give it your best and to not be afraid to fail, if that's been you, you're not going to throw those stones in those comments stream. That won't be you. Because the people that are out there have so much respect for anybody that's willing to try. So don't regret. Like don't set yourself up to live with regret of what you're not going to do. Be a person that commits to trying your best to follow your dreams, to break them down into steps, to do anything and everything you can to get that passion out of you. Release it, let it go, so that you can be a part of, again, what makes dentistry great. Done. That's what we do. It's what you do.